Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our webinar on what to take care of your vendor queries. My name is Vandita. I am a client engagement consultant at Avaali Solutions. In today's webinar, we will introduce you to our unique vendor chatbot that is developed to specially cater to all of your vendor queries. So today I have Srividya Kannan, our CEO and founder of Avaali Solutions, who will be taking you through the presentation. And at the end of the presentation, we'll also show you a short demo of the solution. So this is going to be a 45 minutes webinar where we'll take 30 minutes to take you through the solution plus demo and then 50 minutes to cater to your questions. All lines are muted for clarity. Please feel free to drop in your questions at the bottom of your screen using the chat button. I'll just take you through the agenda first, and then I'll hand over the presentation to Srividya. So today we are going to cover about Avaali. We'll introduce you to Avaali, then what are the top factors contributing to poor supplier relationships, then what is the need of the hour, and then introduction to Velocious Chatbot to cater to all the vendor queries. With this, I'll hand over the presentation to Srividya. Srividya, over to you.
Great, thank you, Vandita, and good morning, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, based on your location. I'm very excited to be here today because in today's discussion, we're going to showcase something very innovative and specifically something that will help you to significantly improve your supplier relationships as well as your, supplier engagement. So without much ado, let me just move over to an introduction about Avaali, which I will cover maybe in about 9 to 10 minutes, and then walk you through the solution areas. All right, so I hope you can hear me and you can see the screen as well. In case you have any challenges, please do send an email to Vandita and we will take care of that immediately. All right, so Avaali is a company that is headquartered in Bangalore, and we have a subsidiary in UAE and in Singapore. We primarily work with large enterprises to help you to significantly improve process agility and increase transparency and governance. So primarily what we do are around the themes of process agility, which means how can organizations do more with less? How can organizations use the existing resources and significantly accelerate your pace to market, your pace to stakeholder engagements? It could be both internal as well as external stakeholder engagements. And in this context, we primarily work with emerging technologies. There are a whole lot of emerging technologies, as you would imagine and you would have read about. And we are actually specialists, and we work on several of these emerging technologies around the themes of process agility, governance, and transparency. We worked with over 85 plus organizations in the past about 3.5, 4 years. And we have specialists on board. We have got recognized for several of these implementations. So we recently won an SAP ACE Awards for an implementation we did at the largest renewables energy company in India. This was for a process to completely automate their accounts payable and invoice automation. We've also been recognized by Economic Times, which is one of the leading publications in India, as the top 5 in the Bootstrap Champ category. And we've also got the top 20 in India as disruptors by one of the leading business publications called Business World. So moving on, as you can see from the slide, there are a whole lot of logos and leading organizations that we have worked with across Asia, Middle East, and Africa. Specifically, we have done work on shared service transformation to significantly accelerate the cycle time to processes like AP, AR, sales order, HR, treasury, FI, those kind of processes. Interestingly, we also worked on customer experience processes and customer communications process. So what we will do is perhaps to engage with you one-to-one in case you have any requirements for sharing any case studies of sorts. We'd be very happy to do that. And in any case, as a part of the ongoing engagements, we will be sharing with you more in detail about several of these case studies. We're partners with best-of-breed solutions. So as you can see from the slide, we're partners of SAP, but we are not an organization that does structured data. So we don't do ERP, CRM, SRM, HR. We're not in the structured data space. We primarily work on unstructured content workflows and its implications with respect to cycle time to process. As per our analysis in interactions with research organizations as well as with several leading organizations, we understand that close to 80% of a business process is typically manual in nature. Workflows are manual. People don't find documents when they need it. People are struggling for information all the time. And this applies to as much internal stakeholders as much as it applies to external stakeholders. So what we do as a company is to work with enterprises to significantly accelerate that pace, help people find information when and where they need it, ensure that workflows are fully automated with emerging technologies. The exceptions, the validations, everything happens automatically. And all of these solutions then talk to your structured data applications coming in from any of your ERP, CRM, SRM, HR, or any other structured data application, so that end-to-end processes are automated. So in this context, we work with partners like OpenText, Kofax, Blackline, Nuance, robotic process automation solutions like UiPath, and the one from Kofax Keppel, for instance, Canto for digital asset management. And we've done a whole lot of implementations for several SAP as well as other ERP accounts. As you can see from the slide, there is AIIM that you see on the bottom right. This is the oldest and the most recognized communities of information management professionals. It's a 75-year-old organization, and they have immense amount of toolkits, research, and other methodologies that one could leverage in the implementations. So we are possibly the only partner for AIM in this part of the world, which just showcases our seriousness towards supporting enterprises with good practices, which also comes in from AIM in our implementations. Now, this is probably the most important slide of the day if you want to know about Avaali. So if there were any key takeaways that you need to have about Avaali, I would say please refer this slide. In the horizontal bar that you can see on the slide, there are several processes like your operational and customer facing process. So for instance, P2P, O2C, financial close, supplier, contracts, R&D, production, HR, and the customer facing process like your sales, marketing, customer engagement, brand asset management, and so on. Across all of these processes, there are elements of unstructured data, a whole lot of stakeholders, both within and outside the organization, who are engaged in executing this process. And what we do as a company is, either consolidate all of these processes into a shared service center, incorporate good practices in terms of 2B processes, and then help you to automate that process end to end, or take these processes individually and ensure that we are bringing you significant amount of cycle time reduction in terms of execution of these processes. End of the day, what these solutions really do is to significantly bring down your cost. So as per our experience, close to 35 to 40% reduction in cycle time and close to 40 to 45% reduction in cost is what we have experienced, and our customers tell us that they have experienced as a result of implementing some of these solutions. And we do this with technologies like ECM, BPM, CEM, robotic process automation, archiving, digital signature, and so on. We have done a lot of digital transformation, process improvements, suggestion of what kind of technologies are best suited for the customer requirement, also in the context of your internal cultural ability to consume some of these investments and make sure that you're leveraging and generating maximum return on investments from these applications. So we've done a whole lot of technology implementations, advisory, consulting, and support services. So coming to the context of today's discussion, which is primarily how can enterprises really improve supplier relationships. This is an interesting research that's come from Paystream Advisors. It's a 2017 research, but it's pretty much applicable for several organizations. Now, they did an interview with several organizations, and they primarily asked them two questions. One is, what are your significant pain areas that really contribute to your supplier stakeholder engagement? What are those pain areas? The second question they asked them was, what is your revenue base? Okay, and then as you can see on the right side of the screen, they have actually categorized the revenues as under 500 million and over 500 million. And there is another complete all of them. So all of these organizations, and then they categorized the responses into 4 categories. So problems that arise from poor data management, then there is query or response times, contract compliance from the buyer, and late payments. So these were the 4 categories. Most of the responses could be bucketed under these 4 categories. Now just look at this data analysis, right? So as you can see, 37%, which is the largest percentage of organizations under 500 million, reported that poor dispute query response times were a real pain area for them in the supplier stakeholder engagement. 37% versus 25%, which are organizations greater than 500 million. But most organizations, close to 37-40% of organizations, are saying that poor supply dispute query response times are a real pain area. On the other hand, in the case of data management, we are saying that organizations greater than 500 million are talking about challenges coming in from data management. So clearly, a lot of organizations which are under 500 million in revenue are talking about engagement, the response times with respect to the number of queries you get from suppliers and the ability to be able to handle those disputes or responses. So really what's happening is that, as we are interacting with so many large enterprises globally, we are saying that enterprises are increasingly considering suppliers as a hidden factory. So what this really means is that how can one bring down waste? How can one really bring down, any kind of hidden areas of spends which are coming in as a result of, suppliers, as a result of the procurement function. And so how can we really recognize that this is a hidden factory, that there are various improvements that can be done to significantly improve the quality and bring down cost? The other thing is that, poor supplier or response time is one of the primary reasons for supplier relationships. And as much as customer relationships are important, supplier relationships are equally important, given the kind of, percentage of spends that you have towards your procurement function, and the fact that suppliers, are indeed a very key stakeholder to your ultimate customer engagement and your production process. So supplier relationships is seemingly one of the most primary factors that is coming in out here as an important thing. And the primary reason of any kind of dissatisfaction on that is as a result of query or dispute resolution times. The accounts payable team spends 30% of your time in answering queries from suppliers. So that's a significant amount of time, and coming in the context of that hidden factory. So how can really enterprises bring down your cost? How can you bring down your productivity levels of your teams so that they are doing more value-added jobs rather than just responding to supplier queries? Okay, so we are talking about productivity, we are talking about costs, and ensuring that leading organizations are looking to automate some of these processes, via emerging technologies. So what are these technologies and how can you really do that, right? So let's walk you through that in a bit. So the need of the hour, as we all have seen, is in terms of faster resolution, 24/7 availability. So less reliance on people who may be away on weekends, who may be away on vacations, or may fall sick. And how can really bots, how can really machines take over that process and ensure that they're delivering superior, supplier relationships, because they are able to pretty much handle most of the queries on their own. So 24/7 availability for query resolutions and seamless interface for suppliers. So the suppliers are always looking for a one window communication to ensure that they are getting responses to their queries. They don't want to be struggling around sending emails, doing calls, and reaching out to customers with via multiple channels to get their queries responded to. So that's really the need of the hour. So this is a solution called Velocious. Velocious is our brand name, which is the Avaali solution. It's a cloud-based application and a chat-based environment to respond to supplier queries and ensure the seamless interface irrespective of the device. So the supplier can log in using web chat, can log in on their mobile device, can authenticate themselves, and can get responses to any query that they have, because Velocious as a chatbot not only interfaces with the suppliers via NLQ, but it importantly also connects with your backend applications, fetching the information as required for the supplier. So this is a fairly interesting, solution. The bot, as you can see, is in the center of the screen that basically interfaces with the supplier via web chat or via mobile chat, and then connects with the backend applications and presents that information back to the supplier. So this being the application, I'm going to pause for a minute here and I will launch a poll. So I would request a response from your end to the poll. And once we have that, we can get, we can continue on that. So here is a poll that will come up on your screen. The question is resolving vendor queries a key pain area for you? What is the significance of that pain? And if you could please respond to this in the next 20 seconds, I'd much appreciate. All right, so we have our response, and 67, well, now it's just changed a bit. So 50% of people are saying that, yes, it's a very significant and pressing pain area, and it needs to be resolved really fast. So thank you for that response. We can now continue. Just give me a moment. Yeah, so let's continue from here. So what are the key features of Velocious? Okay, so if we were to categorize them, they would be around primarily 4 areas. I hope you can see the right screen. Okay, the first one is around self-registration. So we want to ensure that there are authentication mechanisms whereby the security element is taken care of and you're not presenting the information to perhaps an incorrect supplier, or that supplier may not be a part of the system. So self-registration and authentication is one of the key important features of the solution. Suppliers could now self-register via Velocious, and it would authenticate that information via the master data and a one-time password that is sent to the supplier email ID, to the registered email ID. Once the supplier authenticates themselves, then they could begin the conversation. All right. The second feature is user management and audit trail. So basically, all the existing suppliers, there could be a user management facility that is provided whereby you could change your password, you could update your address, and so on. Okay, so once you have authenticated, and once the supplier has authenticated, they could then start querying. So there are a set of widgets based on which they could click and query, and these in turn talk to your backend applications and present that information in terms of status updates. And this can be done pretty much anytime, anywhere. So this presents a really compelling feature as a result of 2 things. One is that it is an extremely intuitive, easy to use interface for your suppliers. And 2, that it can be done at any time on any device. So this is really makes the whole relationships very easy to manage. And not only that, they can get status updates, but they can also upload invoices. So suppliers, this is yet another channel for you to enable your suppliers to upload invoices, which could then be taken up by the bot for further processing. This talks to your, API automation solutions like OpenText or ReadSoft. It also talks to SAP. So irrespective of whether you have an API automation solution or not, this could pretty much be applicable for your environment to automate this process. It looks simple. It is very user intuitive, but it does a whole lot of functionality at the backend as a result of the integrations that we have built with your backend applications. And this is a primary feature. To a supplier, it is simple, it is intuitive, and it is ready to have when they need it at the time, irrespective of a weekend or a holiday or night or day. They can have response to their queries. And for you, then it really brings down the hassle of having to invest that 30% of time, like we previously saw, in managing supplier queries. All right, I'm going to move forward and talk about the advantages of Velocious, as it's fairly self-explanatory, and As you can see from the slide, it's faster. So Velocious as a name means faster, agile, better, really getting to market fast. So true to its name, it just enables you to outperform humans, and importantly, more than outperforming humans, I would say ensure that your teams are spending time in the right value-added activities rather than just responding to mundane jobs like supplier queries. It can be, an anytime, anywhere kind of an interface like we already spoke about. It's extremely efficient, so it can bring down the cycle time to the process, and it can also significantly bring down your costs. Okay? And it is very reliable. So reliability comes in as a result of the foolproof way in which we have ensured authentication of your vendors, as well as reliability from a presentation of the fact of the matter as a result of interfacing with your backend applications. So Velocious is now out in the market, and we are actually presenting this and engaging with several of our accounts which have expressed significant amount of interest. It's a cloud-based application. It's easy to deploy. It's cheap. It is extremely user-friendly. It is extremely agile because it interfaces with your backend applications. So our customers have given extremely good feedback about the solution. So with that, I'm coming to an end of this presentation. You can feel free to post any of your questions using the chat button, or you could just reach out to us anytime, and we're happy to take your questions. But we would want to spend the next 10 or 12 minutes to walk you through a demo so you get a better understanding of the brick and mortar of the solution. So I will now hand over to Vandita, who will walk you through a demo of the solution.
Thank you, Srividya. Give us a few minutes. We'll just change the system now. Take you through the presentation of the chatbot. I wanted to give you the look and feel of our chatbot, and so I'm not going to take much time, just 4 to 5 minutes to showcase few key features of the chatbot. So this is the look and feel of the chatbot. It can be deployed to your website. We have created this demo website here, and this is also available as an Android version. Which is available on your Android Play Store. You can download the app. Your suppliers can download the app. I hope you are able to see my screen. In case you are not able to see, then please drop in a question or raise your hand. I'll get to know. Okay, I suppose there are no hands raised. I'll move on. So here you can type. You can interact with the chatbot. So this is a rule-based conversational bot where we have specified few points, where we have specified few options for you to choose from. I have said hi to the bot, and now as a response, it have given me few options, like you can register yourself. Your suppliers can register, and if I am already a registered supplier, I can log in using an OTP which will be sent to my email address that I have given at the time of the registration. I can also create a vendor here. So since I am already registered, I'll log in with OTP. Here I have to put my vendor number. Now an OTP will be generated and sent to my email address. So this is a ready-made solution, a lightweight solution ready to deploy. You must have gotten email. Yes. So this is the password that I have got. Just copy paste it. I log in. Once I log in, I get a few options again, as I have iterated before. I reiterate that it's a rule-based conversational bot where you'll get a number of options available here, where you can see what are the open DPs, what is the DP status of one particular DP. You can also know your PO status. You can also know your invoice status, payment status, or if you do not want individual statuses, you can also search by the date, and you'll get number of invoices. So the details will be sent to your email as an Excel form, which is readable, and you'll get ready-made options or information available to you. So now I'll search invoice status. So I have an invoice reference number with me. 924. I'll search. So now this has given me the individual invoice details. So what is the status of the invoice right now? It has been indexed. What is the what is the vendor number and what is the DP number? You can see the full details that are associated to an invoice number. You can also see the comments that have been put in. Suppose it has been rejected, then you can know why it has been rejected. So it is shortening the time that your AP team has been taking instead of doing productive work. They have been spending on talking to the suppliers, explaining them why it has been rejected. So that time is shortened by many fold using this chatbot. Sometimes you have suppliers in number of thousands, or even 4,000, 5,000. We have been coming across a lot of customers who have 10,000 vendors in place, and they have a very small AP team. So in that case, it will get very difficult. In that case, it will get very difficult to to cater to all the supplier queries within a limited amount of time. So with this, I'll hold on this demo for a while, and I'll transfer it back to Srividya. We are going to launch one more poll again. So Srividya, over to you.
Yes, thank you, Vandita. I'm going to launch up a poll.
Srividya?
Yes, Vandita, I'm going to launch up a poll right now.
Yes.
As you can see from the screen, have you evaluated such solutions already? Would you be keen to evaluate now? And there are 3 options in here, so you could just click on the most relevant one for you.
I hope you all can see the poll that has been launched.
Okay, great. So we have a pretty encouraging response, and I think close to
Please ask everyone to vote for the poll.
So Vandita, I think you have the response now. So close to about 80% of people would like to evaluate. I'm going to close the poll and hand over back to you.
Thank you, Srividya. So I'll just get back to the demo again. Okay, so here you can get, you got to see the details of an individual invoice here. So if you want to continue in the same option, you can click on the invoice status. So here I want to go back to the main menu. So here you can also see, by invoice search by date, where on a particular date you have submitted a large number of invoices with the organization, and you want to see the status of all of them by date. So here also you can do that. Then you can also see your vendor account statement. You can also upload or attach invoices, and there is an option of contact us as well. So this is the ready-made solution that is ready to deploy, and it is seamlessly integrated with your ERP system as well. And you can so it can be customized as per your requirement. It's right now it's rule based. This is all for today. If you have any questions, do drop a mail to me, or you can keep posting it here as well. We'll consolidate all the questions and answer all of your queries. And so this is all for today. Thank you all for joining us today and being such an awesome audience and answering all of our polls. Thank you, Srividya, for introducing us to the solution. And if you have any queries, or if you want to see demo again with your team, with your business users, do reach out to me. Or you want to talk about commercials, or you want to check your budget, in that case also do reach out to me. Thank you all for joining today. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.